back to the Beach Bum Bookworm. I am Tiffany. I'm so glad you all found me again today. My channel is all about cozy mysteries and romance books, and today I'm talking about what I read in October. Yes, it is October 2021 Cozy Mystery Wrap-Up. I love talking about and making this video because it's just me talking about the books I read, which is, so fun. All right, so please let me know what your favorite read of the month was. If you've read any of these, anything else that you want to talk about, down in the comments is the place to do it. On your way down to comment though, please don't forget to stop and hit the subscription and the notification bell. That notification bell is going to tell you when I put out new videos each and every single week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And the subscription keeps my channel growing. All right, so let's get to it. We are looking at October 2021 Cozy Mystery Wrap Up in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so before we jump into my wrap up, it is announcement time. Short, sweet, to the point. 1, 2, 3, go, Tiffany. Next Saturday, which is the second Saturday in November, we are doing our scavenger hunt pick. It's the first one. It is animal themed. We'd like you to keep it to a cozy mystery because this is for our Killing Time with Cozies group, but it doesn't have to be. Everybody welcome. Please come join us. Tell us about what books you've been reading that feature animals. We have a lot of fun. We do reading sprints, the whole bit. The third Saturday of the month is our Kebab Kitchen. Nailed it. Read along, series read along. We are reading number 4 this month. It's On the Lamb. I'll put it right here. This is by Tina Cashian. And our fourth Saturday of the month of November is our second scavenger hunt pick, which is Crafts and Hobbies. So join us for that. We're going to have so much fun. The other thing that I'm doing this month and I'm really excited about is this coming Wednesday, the 10th, I am doing a cozy mystery holiday recipe swap. So I've invited some authors to come join me and tell me what is their main character's favorite holiday recipe, how it came about, what's their main character's favorite way of spending the holiday, what holiday do they celebrate, how they celebrate. I'm so excited about it. The other thing that's really exciting about it is some of the authors have graciously donated bookish themes or books to give away for the lives. And I'm so excited about that. Thank you so much. And please join us live for your chance to win those. It's going to be a blast. There's going to be another date in December. So on November 10th, this coming Wednesday, I think there's 2 authors joining me. And in December, as of now, I think there's 6, maybe possibly 7. So really looking forward to those. The other thing is just a side note. So I normally post videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I've been really wanting my Friday video to be a weekly vlog. I've really enjoyed making those with reading updates and lunches and AIP food prep. But unfortunately, it has got even colder. We are in the mid 50s and I am really struggling with my joints. So I don't even think I'm going to be making a lot of the things that I have purchased to make for lunch or supper this week. It's just going to have to be very basic. Luckily, my husband is very understanding and also, will help in any way he can. But I just don't know that there's going to be a vlog posted. So please give me leeway. And I hope to have a video on Friday. But if that is not up, that is why. I want one up because that means I'm feeling better. So just want to give you the heads up on that. All right, now let's switch gears. The mysteries, cozy mysteries I read in October. It was a good reading month. Let's jump into it. The first one was Buried in the Past. This is the 5th book in the Cranberry Cove series by Peg Cochran. It is on my fast list. And in this one, Monica and Greg have a knock at the door and this woman is confused and she's seems like they don't know if she's having amnesia or, what is going on with her. But she says that somebody is trying to kill her. And then they try to help her. And in the midst of that, she remembers a sister and they go to see the sister and the sister's dead. So they're trying to, piece it all together. I gave it 3 cups of coffee. It was not my favorite in this series. I enjoyed it and I enjoy this series. But I think it was the plot just didn't pull me in. I really enjoy the Cranberry Cove series. It's a farm series, and y'all know that I love those farm cozies. Who knew? I didn't. The next one that I read was Caught Bread-Handed. This is the fourth book in the Bakeshop series by Ellie Alexander. And this one, a new restaurant comes to town, and like in Ashland, Oregon, which is the setting for this series, it's all themed with like old Shakespearean time because they are known for the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. And this new restaurant comes in, and it's just like a chain, and it doesn't fit into like all the other businesses, and nobody's happy about it. And the new owner's like, I don't care, whatever, it is what it is. This is where my restaurant's going. And she meets her demise. 5 stars, 5 cups of coffee. Really, really enjoyed it. So next up, I read The Diva Steals a Chocolate Kiss right here. This is the 9th book in the Domestic Diva series by Krista Davis, which is on my SAS list. And in this one, Sophie is celebrating, putting on an event for a 50th anniversary party for a business. It's a chocolate business called Amore. And the CEO goes missing. And then when she's trying to figure out what's going on with that, they discovered the body of a competitor chocolatier. And things just get chaotic from there, which was enjoyable, but also why I gave it 3 cups of coffee, because sometimes I feel like these books are just, the flow of them is a little chaotic for me. I still really, really enjoyed it. Will definitely continue the series just like always. Just wasn't one of my favorites in the series. Next up, I read Fudge and Jury right here. This is the 5th book in the Bakeshop series by Ellie Alexander. No, it is not on my SAS list, but I just am loving it so much that I've been binging it. In this one, there is going to be a chocolate festival, and Jules and Tort are helping out with it. And one of the guys that is from a chocolate shop that is participating ends up dead. And Jules is figuring out what is going on. It is 5 cups of coffee all the way. This series just pulls me in every single time. The books are so good. The setting, the characters, I love everything about it. Oh, so good. So the next book I read was Wedding Cake Crumble. This is the 10th book in the Cupcake Bakery series by Jim McKinley, and this is on my SAS list. I was really excited for this one because it was Angie and Tate's wedding. Oh my goodness. All right, 1 down and 1 to go. If you're reading the series, you probably know what I'm referring to. All right, so along with the wedding, you know, Mel is trying to be maid of honor, and she's Tate's best friend too, so she's pulling some best man stuff. And there's also this author signing going on that Fairy Tale Cupcakes is providing refreshments for, and this author ends up dead. And there you go, 4 cups of coffee. So good. I am absolutely loving this series. I feel like this is a series that gets better and better as it goes, which is pretty incredible. So next up, I read A Crime of Passion Fruit right here. This is the 6th book in the Bakeshop series by Ellie Alexander. I told you I was binging it. So good. In this one, this was one of my favorites of the series. So I love when we get to see characters in a different setting. So for this one, Carlos, which is Jules' estranged husband, because they're not divorced, convinces her to join him back on the cruise ship where they both worked and where they met, to help out as a baking chef, you know. And when he invites her, he also invites her mom and the professor to join them. And then obviously, like in Cozy Mysteries, a murder happens on board, and they are trying to figure out what is going on. It was so much fun to see them in a different element. I absolutely loved it. 5 cups of coffee all the way. It was so good. So the next book I finished, I love this title. It's Of Spice and Men. It is the 3rd book in the Pancake House Mystery series by Sarah Fox. So our main character, Marley, she is the owner of a pancake diner place, and there's a film crew coming to film a scary movie in Wildwood Cove. And The leading actress is Marley's boyfriend's ex-girlfriend, which can only lead to trouble. However, what ends up happening is she is invited to the movie set, and the makeup artist ends up dead. And that's where it takes off. 4 Cups of Coffee, really enjoyed that one. Next up, another great title. Sarah Fox does amazing titles. It's The Malt in Our Stars. This is the 3rd book in the literary pub series by Sarah Fox. In this one, Sadie is having this romance author come to the pub and for an event, and her assistant ends up falling out of a 3rd-story window in the hotel that they're staying in. And Sadie's like, and she's on the case. 4 Cups of Coffee, really enjoyed this one. And I really think this series is so much fun. Next up was my scavenger hunt fall pick. It is the Cider Shop Rules right here. This is the 3rd book in the Cider Shop Mystery Series by Julianne Lindsay. And oh my gosh, was this fun. And it had everything I wanted for a fall read. So there is a fall festival going on, which is right up my alley. And there is a Civil War reenactment going on, which of course brings a lot of people from out of town. And one of the things that takes place at the fall festival is there's a pumpkin patch and, a pumpkin maze and the all the things that would come along with that kind of thing. Hay rides and all those things. And the guy who runs the pumpkin patch ends up dead. I know, sad. And I absolutely love this. Was my favorite of the series, partly because, like I said, it was so fall themed, and that is my favorite, and I loved every single minute of it. I gave it 5 cups of coffee. It was so good. Next up, I read One Feta in the Grave. This was, of course, our series read along from the Kebab Kitchen Mystery Series number 3 by Tina Cashian. So in this one, there's a sandcastle contest, and one of the guys that ends up having to withdraw from the sandcastle contest, he is horrible to everybody around him. He seems to not get along with anybody, ends up dead, and then a lot of history comes out about him. I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 cups of coffee. I can't wait for On the Lam, which is actually a reread for me, and number 4 that we will be discussing that 3rd week in November. So join us for that. All right, next up was Death on Tap right here. This is the 1st book in the Sloane Krause mystery series by Ellie Alexander. And oh my gosh, it was so much fun. So we are introduced to Sloane, which is our main character. She catches her husband so they own a brewery. His family owns a brewery. And Sloane catches him with one of their barmaids. And so she ends up going to work for Nitro, which is this nano brewery that is opening up in the same town of Leavenworth, Washington. And somebody ends up dead in the fermenting tank of Nitro. And oh my gosh, was this fun. I really enjoyed this. Can't wait to read number 2. I already read number 2. You'll hear about it in a minute. I gave it 4 cups of coffee. Really loved it. Next up, I finished A Death Long Overdue. This is the 7th book in the Lighthouse Library series by Eva Gates. It is on my SAS list. And there is going to be a 40th college class reunion for Birdie. And the former head librarian of the Lighthouse Library comes back, and she is a nasty woman. And unfortunately, she ends up swimming with the fishes. Literally, they find her in a body of water, and Lucy's trying to figure out what is going on. It was so good. It was one of my favorites of the series. I just really enjoyed it. 4 cups of coffee. Next up, I read Dying for Devil's Food. It is number 11 in the Cupcake Bakery Mystery Series by Jen McKinley. So in this one, they are having a high school reunion. I know, another reunion, which is really funny because the book I just talked about was a reunion. Before that, it was Chocolate and Chocolate Festival. Oh, I don't know. All right. So in this one, it's Mel and Angie's high school reunion, and Mel has 0 interest in attending, and beyond attending, they want Mel's fairy tale cupcakes to provide the refreshments, and she really doesn't want to do that. Well, she ends up getting talked into it by Angie, and they go back, And of course, mean girls are still mean girls. And the number one mean girl, Cassie or something like that, ends up dead. And the fingers point to Mel because they'd had, you know, a little interaction that wasn't pleasant. But something happens, and when she dies in the bathroom, she like writes out or does something that like makes it point to Mel as the person that killed her. That's clearly not true. So they're trying to figure out what's going on. I gave this one 5 cups of coffee. Maybe it's something about reunions, but I really, really enjoyed this one. So the next book I finished was The Diva Cooks Up a Storm right here. This is the 11th book in the Domestic Divas series by Krista Davis. And in this one, Sophie is attending this gourmet dinner party. And another person that's attending, Hollis, Hollis, he is bringing his new young trophy wife, and his ex-wife and son are there, which can only mean bad news. He ends up dead. I gave this one 3 cups of coffee. I did enjoy it, but there was another book in this series where almost the same thing happened, and I just felt like, been there, done that sort of thing. Next up, I finished Deadly Ever After. This is the 8th book in the Lighthouse Library series by Eva Gates. And this one, Connor and Lucy are getting married. I was so excited for this one. Oh my gosh. So everything is going splendidly until, of course, there's always an until, Ricky, who we've seen before, which is Lucy's ex-boyfriend, and Evangeline, which is Ricky's mom, who we've also seen before, come in for a last-ditch effort to break them up, Lucy and Connor up, and get Lucy and Ricky back together. We've already been through this. They're not getting back together, people. But Evangeline does one last-ditch effort and throws this party for them at Jake's restaurant. And Ricky's dad, Evangeline's husband, ends up dead. And that's where the book takes off. It was so good. It was one of my favorites of the series. I loved it. 5 cups of coffee. Really enjoyed that one. Next up, I read Pumpkin Spice Peril right here. This is number 12 in the Cupcake Bakery series by Jen McKinley. In this one, there is a glass blowing artist, which I thought was really cool. Her husband's always buying cupcakes for her at Fairy Tale Cupcakes each week. And Mel and Angie are like, oh, that's so cute. Look at their marriage. It's so perfect, blah, blah, blah. Well, I guess artist is having some health issues, but like she's acting very, very, very strange. And so Mel agrees to go see her and try to, encourage her to take some time off because her husband Peter's just like, there's something not right. And when she goes, there's this huge, she accuses Mel of cheating on, of being with Peter, which is the artist's husband. It was very bizarre. And Mel's just like, yeah, something's really not right with her. I think it's beyond just, having a bad day. She's got to take some time off, sort of thing. She ends up dead. I love this series, don't get me wrong, but this wasn't one of my favorites. I gave it 3 cups of coffee. Next up, I read Another One Bites the Crust right here. This is the 7th book in the Bakeshop Mystery series by Ellie Alexander. Oh my gosh, this one was so much fun. The Shakespeare Festival is back in town again in Ashland, and Lance has hired this diva actor, which is hilarious because Lance is a diva himself, but sometimes doesn't know it, or maybe he does know it. I think he's actually pretty honest about it, but this guy is people can only call him by his stage name. Some people are like, I don't even know what his real name is because he demands to be called, the role he's playing. He's very nasty to everybody. He thinks the show can't go on without him. And Lance is like, oh my gosh, what have I got myself into? I've hired this man. I am, and he ends up dead. And Lance is, of course, our prime suspect. I absolutely loved it. I think the reason I love this one so much is because we got to see a lot of Lance, or more than we usually do. And he's one of my favorite characters. I just enjoy everything about him. I gave it 5 cups of coffee. Loved it. Next up, I read The Diva Serves High Tea. This is the 10th book in the Domestic Diva series by Krista Davis. This was my favorite domestic diva of the month. So in this one, a tea shop is opening in town, and it is the perfect place for not only tea, but for gossip. So as they're gathering to gossip, there is a handsome, charming guy who is opening up this I think it's an antique shop, but some sort of shop across the street from the tea shop, and they're kind of spying on him, and he ends up dead. 4 cups of coffee. Like I said, it was my favorite of the month for the domestic diva. Next up, I read For Better or Worse. This is the 13th book in the Cupcake Bakery series by Jen McKinley, which is on my SAS list, which means I'm caught up in it, and I can't wait for the next one. So we finally are at Mel and Joe's wedding day, and I'm not giving anything away. It's the cover. It's the name of the book. Hopefully you got that from all that. So Oz is, of course, baking the wedding cake. He has moved on to something other than fairy tale cupcakes to further his career. And the chef that he's working under at this place is terrible. And he ends up murdered. And Oz is one of the suspects. That is not going to work for us because we love Oz. 5 cups of coffee, favorite of the month for cupcake. And again, I think it was because of the wedding. I was so excited. So now both couples are married. I am a happy camper. Next up, I read Better Off Red. This is the first book in the Bookmobile series. So I've started a new series by Nora Page. And in this one, our librarian is the main character. Her name is Cleo. She's like 75 years old, doesn't want to retire. She is my kind of gal. Absolutely love her. She is trying to get money for funding for the library for repairs and just for general funding. And the mayor is this young guy who just doesn't think that we should invest all this money into a library, which is sad. That's wrong. No. So she's trying to find people who will back her. And there's this eccentric man in town who is very supportive of the library. He requests these books about how to get away with murder and how to kill people, but then he ends up dead. And so our main character Cleo is like, what is going on? She's going to figure it out. I gave it 3.5 cups of coffee, and I can't wait to check out number 2. Next up, I read Bedeviled Eggs. This is the 3rd book in the Cackleberry Club series by Laura Childs. So in this one, we are at Halloween, which is perfect. And they are planning this big Halloween bash. And a mayoral candidate for the town is in their parking lot and gets hit with a bow and arrow and killed. And at first people are like, maybe it was a hunting accident. And Suzanne's like, I don't think so, in the middle of town, all that sort of stuff. So she's figuring out what is going on. I gave it 3 cups of coffee. I enjoyed it. This just isn't one of my favorite series, but it's a good, solid read. Next up, I read Reserved for Murder right here. This is the 2nd book in the Book Lovers B&B series by Victoria Gilbert. So our main character, Charlotte, owns Chapters, which is a Book Lovers B&B themed bed and breakfast. So much fun. So an author is coming for an event, and she's kind of a recluse and doesn't want a lot of people to know she's there, but she is hosting some things for a fan club and stuff like that. And the president of her fan club ends up dead. I gave this 3.5 cups of coffee. I will be reading the 3rd one, which comes out in early 2022, I believe. Next up, I read It Cannoli Be Murder. I love that title. This is the 2nd book in the Italian Chef series by Catherine Bruns. We read the first one for a knockout challenge. And in this one, Tessa is trying to get her restaurant ready. It's almost there. In the first one, we met Tessa, and she had just become widowed. And at the end of the first book, she purchases this building for her Italian restaurant. So now she is just at the point of opening it up. She's finishing getting everything ready. And her cousin, who owns a bookstore, wants her to cater this author signing that she has coming up. So Tessa agrees. And the publicist for the author is their high school nemesis. So Tessa and her cousin's high school nemesis. She ends up dead, and you can guess who the suspects are. 4 cups of coffee. I really, really enjoyed it. I want to say that if you had reservations after reading the first one, you should totally give this one a try. It was well worth it. I really, really enjoyed it. And I can't wait for number 3, which just came out very recently. So the last book I read for the month was Death of a Wedding Cake Baker. This is the 11th book in the Haley Powell mystery series by Lee Hollis. And I couldn't have ended on a better note for the month because I absolutely love this. So in this one, our main character, Haley's one of her best friends, Liddy, is getting married, and Liddy's cousin is doing the wedding cake, and she's horrible. And you know what happens to horrible people in cozies? Yeah, they get they get offed. And so they're trying to figure out what is going on. 5 cups of coffee. It might have been probably close to one of my favorite reads of the month. I really, really loved it. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed my wrap up. Let me know what you read. And until next time, may all your future reads be 5 stars. Bye, everyone.